Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Building a Nation with Team Canada. And today, we check in with the senior team as they take the first step on their road to glory that is World Cup qualifying. That is our next goal for this save, qualify for the World Cup. It's going to be an outstanding run. We should have, a pretty smooth road as we go along until we start running into the Costa Ricas, the Mexicos, the USAs of the continent. So, team that we're playing today, Barbados, they've got an amazing flag. I mean, let's first talk about that. They've got a great flag. It's a close rival to the tremendous flag that is the Canadian national flag. But unfortunately, this isn't a flag off. This is going to be a football game. And we're probably going to beat Barbados. So before we get to that game, we're going to sort of look at the schedule, talk about where we've come from and where we're going and all that stuff. So take a look at the schedule for the Vancouver Whitecaps for some reason. No, that's not what we want. We want the schedule for Canada. It always does that when I start to record. It always flips back to Vancouver. I don't know why. It just happens that way. So here we go. As you can see, not a lot on the schedule for the rest of the season for the senior team, but this schedule will grow as we start to win games because we're just in the second round, first leg. So it is a knockout style tournament as we play against Barbados. You can see here, this is the second round. Can we look at the playoff tree? It's not very helpful because I think it's reseeded after each round. But as you can see here, plenty of teams, so we're going to just envision that there's a playoff tree here because we're going to keep playing until somebody qualifies for the World Cup. Are there rules for this competition? There are rules. Let's see. Qualifications. Winners qualify for the third round. That's all we get. How about third round? Group A. Qualification. Top team qualifies for the World Cup. The best team in second position qualifies for World Cup playoff. Okay. So we got two chances. We got to win the tournament or come in second and score a lot of goals and all that kind of stuff. So it's again another slim margin of error like we had with the Olympic qualifying. It's win it or you're out of luck most likely. So that's our mission for the senior team. Now the under-23s haven't done anything since that bronze medal winning performance in the Summer Olympics. I hope you saw that. Hope you watched our amazing run there to the medal round. It wasn't a perfect run. I think we found our level, though. Our current level is pretty good, but we're still quite far behind the upper echelon of international play. You look at our two losses, 3-1 against Germany, 3-0 versus Italy. So those top tier, especially the European sides, we're still a long way away from them. Now, I think tactically I need to rethink how we play when we play against these top teams. You saw our last games in the, not just here, but last games against Mexico. Didn't play so well against them. I think we need to dial it back and go, swallow my pride and to go a bit more defensive against these top teams and see if we can win some defensive games, which I don't want to do, but it might be our only option, especially in a one game knockout style tournament. I think you just got to bite the bullet and play against your style. Try to just come up with any kind of win you can and not get beat by 2 or 3 goals. So, we'll try that. We'll try some tactical changes next time we play one of those big boys. But that's for another time. Now, the under-20s are where it's at currently in the fall of 2020, because they've got a ton of international friendlies that they're playing in the next 2 months. So we lost the first one 2-1. I'm not coaching the under-20s. I'm letting Tab Ramos, well, not Tab Ramos, but his equivalent, coach the under-20s. Who is coaching the under-20s? That's probably a good question to ask, right? Is there a way to look at that? Let's see. How would I look at that? Staff. Staff responsibilities, probably. Under-20s. There we go. Rob Gale, under-20s head coach. I mean, we got an under-20s head coach. I guess we should let him coach. Where is Mr. Gale? Here he is in all his glory. Rob Gale, 43-year-old Englishman, head coach for Valor FC. Working with youngsters of a 4, that's probably bad. He's good at motivating man management. You know, we should probably look to improve our under-20s coach now that they're playing a bunch of games. We'll do that, how about next year? But for now, Rob Gale is the guy. And I guess the only thing of interest here is that, you know, all these friendlies will culminate in the under-20 North American Championship. So that's a good little tournament. We've got a pretty good draw here in Group B. Probably Guatemala is the only team that's, you know, of our level. But at the under-23 levels, you never know. Players develop at different rates, and our players in Canada and the U.S. usually develop a little later than in other nations because of, you know, reasons. But under-20s, it's kind of a crapshoot, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't really want to coach the under-20s. But here we go. There's a lot of teams. There's 6 groups of 6 teams. So that's 36 teams. That's a pretty big tournament. But as you can see, the winner of each group moves on, and each group has a pretty much predetermined winner for the most part. Jamaica down in Group F is probably going to win it. Honduras in Group E is probably going to win it. Costa Rica in Group D is probably going to win it. USA, Group C, Canada, Group B, and Mexico, Group A. So there you go. That's probably going to be the 6 teams you get in the next round, with maybe they'll bring in 2 extras to round it out and make it 8, I assume. But yeah, not going to coach the under-20s, just to give myself a break a little bit. And I don't know. One thing about the under-20s, though, we should look at the roster, because we got some players on the under-20s. We got 5 players, 2 from our academy, 3 who probably should be in the academy but have been called up to the senior team. We got Daniel Valente, 15-year-old striker in the academy. He's pretty good. I mean, he's got pretty decent physicals for a 15-year-old. Mentally, he's not terrible. He could use some adjustments here and there, but he does have work rate, teamwork, and determination. And then technically, he's pretty strong. 14 first touch, 13 dribbling, 13 free kick taking, so he might score some goals on free kicks for the under-20s. Now, as far as strikers go, he only has 10 finishing, 8 composure. So he's more likely to play somewhere else other than striker, but he's kind of one of those guys who I wouldn't know where to play this guy, because his finishing and composure aren't good enough for a striker. He can play out on the left wing, but his crossing isn't terrific. And then he can also play attacking playmaker, but his passing isn't really that good. His passing and vision aren't really that good to be a playmaker. So as he gets older, he's got to fill in those gaps, at least one of those gaps, and figure out a position. But for now, he's pretty talented. So then we got Ben Zanata, central defender, 16-year-old, another academy player. Only 6 foot tall, only 8 jumping reach, so he's got some issues in that department. But physically, he's just really average. He does have incredible determination, though, at 17, aggression, teamwork. His positioning could be better. His anticipation could be better as well. But he does have 15 tackling. That's pretty huge for an under-20. 12 marking is also very good, only 9 heading. So this guy could play out at fullback. He only has, he doesn't go forward very well, but he could play defensive fullback in our system. But still, as far as central defenders go, he's okay. And then we got the three guys who you're probably a little bit more familiar with. Lemire. He's the guy that we've sold to FC Nuremberg. He's going to go there in 2021, I think. So next season, he's going to actually join Nuremberg when he turns 18. But for now, he's training with us. He's actually playing with us. I played him in the last game for Vancouver. He scored 2 goals. So this guy is a goal scorer. What can I say? He's physically, he's incredibly average. Mentally, he's pretty good. 12 composure is really good. 16 flair is really, really good. 15 finishing. So, like I said, he's a goal scorer. Already up to 2.5 stars. So, he's progressing well. And, yeah, it's no-brainer for the under-20s for this guy. Diego Hendricks, another guy. He can play out the left wing. He can play striker. We got a lot of strikers, apparently. He's training well. His mentals are going up. Physically, he's probably the best of the 3 strikers. 12 strength, 12 pace, lots of 12s. Instead of the other guys had lots of 10s, so he's at least a little better than those guys. He also has 14 finishing, 10 composure, so he can score goals, can dribble a little bit, first touch a little bit. So, again, another pretty decent striker. And then, of course, Mario Ahmed, a guy who's good enough to play in MLS right now, a guy who's good enough to play in the under-23s, so he's obviously good enough to play in the under-20s. He's starting to improve now that he's back and training with everybody. He's up to 2.5 stars, like his partner Zlatkovic. So we got some really good fullbacks coming through Vancouver, and they're making it onto the various national teams. Then we got a bunch of dudes from TFC3. We got one guy from Juventus, which is an interesting place. Alessandro Busti, goalkeeper, 20 years old. I don't know about this guy. He's got the big brand name coming from Juventus, but 10 reflexes, only 2-star potential ability, maybe 3-star potential ability. I think this is his peak. He's going to peak at 20 years old. I'm sorry to inform you of this. But, he is over at Juventus, so you never know. He could improve, but right now I don't think the future's too bright for Alessandro. Other than that, not a lot to comment on. We do have one player from the Dynamo Academy. He also has Mexican heritage. Luis Alberto Gomez. Going to try his hand at playing for Team Canada. 6'1", 12 jumping reach, central defender. 14 positioning for a 17-year-old is pretty good. Marking and heading are decent. Tackling could use some improving. But he's just, sort of a solid central defender candidate. 3.5 stars, maybe even 4.5 star potential. So, if he develops down there in Houston, then maybe he's got a future. But for now, he's going to stick to the under-20s. And there we go. That's about all the news that's fit to print for the national team. So let's get on to today's games. I'm going to try to fit both games in because we should beat Barbados handily. So we shouldn't need to watch a ton of highlights, but we shall see. If I start scoring a bunch of goals, the game will drag on and we'll have to split it up. But anyway, yeah. We still haven't even talked about the senior team yet. We got to look at the senior team. So maybe this will be a 2 episodes because we just did like 15 minutes right there. Anyway, here's the lineup. Not a ton of interesting games, unfortunately. Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, maybe Cuba, Curacao, I don't know, Trinidad and Dominican Republic. That should be a decent game. But, yeah, not a lot else happening. Let's get to the match preview. Yeah, so I've never seen odds 10-1. That's pretty humongous. 15-1 odds if you bet on Barbados. So, yeah, that's bad. That's bad. We do come in strong form. 2 wins and 2 draws in our last 4, I guess. No previous meetings with Barbados. They do have 1 player injured, Jamar Dixon. It's a familiar name. It's probably American football player. I recognize that name. But anyway, let's see. Where are we playing today? We're playing in BMO Field, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. 27,000 tickets sold, so nearly a sellout. That's good. People are paying attention to the World Cup qualifying. Referee Stephen Morand has never refereed a game in his entire career. Head coach Colin Fordy. See, there's a sports trader, Pat Fordy. Name spelled the same way. So it could be pronounced Fordy, but it could also be pronounced Ford. Who knows? Who really knows? He is the Barbados head coach. That's all he's ever done in his entire life since 2011. Nothing but coaching Barbados. It's probably not a bad gig, honestly. Yeah. So he's not what you would call a technical coach. He's more of a disciplinarian, I think, is his strength. So that's fine. Let's get to team selection. Let's take a look at Barbados real quick. Yeah, so they got two guys, two real players, and one of them is injured, Jamar Dixon. So Christian Pierce, 30-year-old Barbadian. Okay. Contracted to Mansfield. He's actually a pretty decent-looking player. Good for him. Probably their best player. He's playing well, too. 7.11 rating. Then Jamar Dixon here, playing for Ottawa, the Fury. In what league are they in now? They're in whatever league. They're in one of the U.S. leagues. Anyway, he might not even play because he's injured. So let's just submit our team. Our team is back. Our team is whole. So we've got the under-23s up there. And we're going to have no mercy. We're going to play a full lineup here. We got Borgen in goal, starting goalkeeper. Cabra. Romeo has made his way up to the starting lineup. I'm going to give him a shot to start. He's a very good physical defender, so we're going to put him in there with Jaguar and Nana. That's going to be our four defenders. Piet, Arfield, Davies, Chapman, Ballou, and, of course, Sean Hundle up top as the goalkeeper. We did have one injury at striker, Carducci. No, not Carducci. Who am I thinking of? I want to call him Carducci because that's the name I can think of. It is Cavallini who got injured, not Carducci. Carducci is obviously a goalkeeper on the team who I definitely knew that's who he was. Anyway, Cavallini injured, so Hundle gets the start. Looks like Barbados is going with the 4-4-2. Good for them. Let's go. Get this party started. Hand over to the assistant. Let's go. Don't even need to pep talk against these guys. Let's see. Yeah. Tunnel talk. All right. You sprung a few surprises with your team selection today. What's the thinking behind that? Some players will play here, others will play in the other fixture. Because we do play in just a couple of days down in Barbados. So we gotta, honestly, there were some players who came into the game a little tired. And that's the only reason why they're not starting. So I'm going to give them a couple of more days of rest before they play. Because we're going to play everybody. We're going to try to play all 22 of the 23. So it's only our dude Carducci who's not going to play. So we're going to get Lutweiler in there. Here we go. First highlight. Throw in. Piet is going to gather it in. He's going to take it. No, turnover. Here comes Barbados. They were not able to bomb it forward. We got our defense sitting back. I didn't even go over our starting lineup. What am I doing? Or did I? Barely. Chapman is in the middle, which is a little bit different. There's Ballou with a shot. Let me check a look at these highlights. Yeah. We're going to stick with Keela highlights. So Chapman is a guy who hasn't played very much. And I think ordinarily he'd be a backup. And there he is. That was an interesting play on the sideline. But he does recover. He stays on side of all things. It looks like we're going to restart the offense. Cabra diving up through the middle. Yep. That's really what you want your fullback doing. I mean, I know we're on attack, but still, it's not really a fullback's role. Anyway, to like drive past all the other players on the team and shoot a 35-foot shot, 35-yard shot, 35-meter shot. I don't know. There's Baloo. Yeah, Barbados is sort of making their way down the field. They're giving it their best shot here. There's Piet, the Terminator, in the midfield. He's got to get it forward to Hundle. He does. Hundle's going to take it himself, and he's going to shoot it wide. All right, we'll give the boys a concentrate. Thought about going slightly less direct, but let's keep it direct for now. Loud vehicle going by. Jaguar. 19 minutes. We've already had quite a few highlights. Baloo just ranging wherever he feels like. Davies gets wide to Cabra, I suppose. That's what Cabra should be doing. I mean, you want to be on attack and be up there, that's fine. We are a little bit subject to counterattack, but Piet destroys that counterattack. Here goes Cabra. Again, getting forward. There's Chapman. See if he can make a play. He's going to shoot it himself and score. Not the greatest shot you've ever seen, but also, likewise, not the greatest goalkeeping you've ever seen. So the two things equal a goal. Cabra getting forward, getting adventurous. He's been adventurous all game. Chapman, one touch, and then, well aimed, I suppose, but Hart should have stopped that. Definitely should have stopped that. Take a look at old Chapman. 26 years old. Not terrific physically. Mentally, he's determined. He's got some vision. He's got some flair, a little bit of passing, a little bit of first touch. He's just a super average dude, but he's dependable in the midfield. There's Jaguar with a goal off the set piece. Now the goals are starting to come fast and furious. I don't think goal differential matters in this round because it's knockout, so I don't see why it would matter. Let's see. How would it matter? Well, it's a two-legged affair. So, I guess that would matter. But I'm assuming not. I think second half we can still dial it back. Go for possession and just try to get out of here with no goals scored against us. A 2-goal lead should be good enough to get past Barbados. But you never know. They could sneak up and get a tricky one before half. Here's Chapman. Gets it forward to Baloo. Baloo's going to dive inside as he likes to do. Back to Chapman. Chapman's going to take it forward. See, Chapman knows where he's supposed to be. Shot off the post. A lot of times, those attacking playmakers, they sort of get themselves confused and they hang back too far and they don't get forward enough. They let the midfielders get ahead of them, but Chapman was like, I'm not hearing that. Chapman took the ball and went forward because that's what he's supposed to do. Don't let our field overtake your position, even though he's a tremendously better player than you are. Anyway, just about halftime. Davies heads one on. Brown clears it for Barbados, but Romeo. Harfield to Chapman again. Chapman, being the playmaker, gets it to Hundle, and he scores. I had to assume Hundle was going to get a goal, because that's what he does. He scores against lesser competition like you won't believe. It's his favorite thing to do. So just sort of a good build-up. Our field to Chapman again. Chapman making a nice play. Probably better defenders would have stopped that, but, you know, it was a good thought. Get the ball to Hundle. And there we go. 3 goals in the first half. That's respectable. I mean, what are we? The USA women's national team? Come on. We don't need to score 12 on everybody. Let's see. By the time you see this, the World Cup might be over. I don't know. I got a lot of pre-recorded videos. So that reference could be incredibly old at this point. We will go balanced. We'll go work the ball in the box. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Is there anybody we want to get out of there? Not really. Because everybody's going to have to play in the next game anyway, so it doesn't matter. Let's go. Hand over to the assistant and the pep talk. Start the second half. That would also be a good thing to do. So yeah, we should be moving on pretty easily to the next round. It's just after that is where things are going to start getting tricky. Got to figure out what to do against Mexico. We're sure to play them again at some point. So I'm thinking about using the dual segundos that I've used in MLS, where basically it's 3 defensive midfielders, one, 2 of them as segundo volantes, one the primero volante, I guess, and the other one the segundo. I don't know if that's really how you would call that, but that's what I'm going to call it. The primero volante, segundo volante, and tertiary volante? I don't know. No, the third guy is the anchor man. Our field is going to help hopefully get me out of this hole that I've dug myself into. Gets it to Chapman, who gets the ball stolen. Barbados, nobody forward. They've got everybody behind the ball. And their outlet passes are just sort of hopeless. This is something you see in international play that I'm not a big fan of. Chapman with a shot. Is there are some teams that are just sort of hopeless when they play against another team. Seen it a lot in the Women's World Cup, especially the first round. There's just some teams, they literally have no hope of any sort of offensive attack. Their best hope is sit back and play defense and not get scored on. 0-0 draw is kind of their best hope. And I'll be brutally honest, as somebody who's watched the U.S. national team through the years, there's been plenty of games where the U.S. national team, men's team, was that team. Right, where we just had, I remember the early days. Here's Baloo, sends one in. Can't get it to Hundle. Chapman. Drops it back to Piet. Piet, goal. Good job. Has he scored one of those before? I don't know. For the national team. He's probably scored one. I don't remember it if he did. That's the first one I can recall him getting as sort of a, in the course of play type goal. He bent that in there pretty nicely. Yeah, I was going to say, I remember the early days of the, early 90s national team where it's like, sit back, play defense, bomb the ball to Kobe Jones. And that's it. That's all we can do. Now, eventually that team progressed and got better than that. But I remember those first few games I watched of them, and it's like, this team has one hope. They got one guy who can do anything. So it's not just the smaller teams like Barbados who have to face that. It's some of the mid-tier teams as well. They got to face sort of the the lack of dignity. I don't know what it is. It's something I don't want to do. I don't want to be that team that just sits back and has no hope. So that's why I continue to go on the attack even when Mexico's beating us 6-0. I just don't want to be that team. But we might have to at some point, because I think we're a little better than that. I think, you know, with our speed, our counterattacking ability that we have, I think we could do a little bit more than sit back and hope for a draw. But the sitting back point part of it might be what we have to do at some point. Anyway, 30 seconds to go in this game. 4-0 is respectable. Should be able to beat Barbados in the next leg pretty handily. There we go. Big Canadian crowd. Got to see the victory. Now we'll head down to Barbados and see, you know, see what their crowd looks like. They got a pretty decent away section over here. Let's see. They had 1 shot. That's what I'm talking about. How can you win a game? How can you even have a hope to win a game when you get 1 shot and the other team gets 30? It's just not fun for anybody. All right, hand over to the assistant. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Okay, so we're going to pause it here, get to the second one.